This is Amayra. Let me be your guide.
Hello everyone. Today I have a great pleasure to say hello to our new member, Amayra Morales from Peru. And Amayra is now on 2,800 meters, and she will explain more why is that the case. Hi, Amayra.
Hello, Ed. So nice to be here with you. Yeah, so I was actually born in Peru, and at the age of 8 years old, my family and I migrated to Sydney, Australia. So some of you may or may not know the history of Peru, but during the late 80s, early 90s, there was quite a lot of chaos here in Peru due to the uprise of terrorism. So my parents decided that, as sad as leaving their home country was going to be, it was a necessity because life here in Peru was very tough. So we migrated. So we went from the mountains of Peru all the way to Sydney, Australia, and I pretty much grew up in Australia. But from the age of maybe 25 onwards, I kept coming back to Peru every 2 or 3 years just to reconnect with Peru. And in 2019, I decided that I was going to come to Peru for maybe 3 or 6 months. I wasn't sure. And then obviously the obvious happened, and I got caught up here in Peru, and I haven't left. Like, I really love it here, and it's been nice to connect with my culture, my family, and continue on this healing journey. So here we are.
And before this interview, you told me that you are actually in the mountains. So tell me more about how is in the mountains and what do you do now?
So I don't think anybody gets into the health and wellness industry due to perfect health. And I think for me, my wake-up call was when I hit rock bottom and ended up in hospital due to burnout and a whole host of vitamin and nutrient deficiencies. And we're talking about me in my past life in the corporate world in Sydney, where I completely just worked so hard and pushed my body to its absolute limit that I ended up being really, really sick. So from the outside, I guess it all looked amazing, glamorous, but on the inside, I was kind of a ticking time bomb. And I'm sure a lot of your audience can relate to it, you know. I was quite a self-destructive path. I was working long hours to feel successful. I was disregarding my health, accepting stress, anxiety, insomnia as just a regular part of life, and also using alcohol to kind of feel grounded, which sounds weird. So through a series of events, I actually kept going from specialist to specialist, trying to work out all these health issues that I had. And there wasn't a specialist that was able to get to the root cause of my issues. It was mainly prescription medication, just to kind of put a band-aid on some of the things that I was experiencing. And I could feel my body was slowly shutting down, and I was kind of deaf to the whispers of the universe. And the universe gave me a little tap and I didn't listen. Then it gave me a little pinch and I didn't listen. And then finally it just gave me a slap across the face, and, you know, it sent me to hospital. And that was probably like a really low point in my life. And I started questioning a lot of things, you know. Is this all there is to life? Am I going to be working in the corporate world? So many things that I started to question until I decided to leave my life behind in Sydney and ended up just going to India to do a yoga teacher training course. And 6 weeks into my trip in India, I ended up getting very, very sick. And through a series of fortunate events, I actually ended up at an Ayurvedic clinic. And the doctor within an hour had connected all the dots of everything that was going on with me, something that modern medicine wasn't able to offer me. And he said to me, he made me realize through Ayurveda how out of balance I was in the physical form, in the emotional form, and the spiritual form. So within 2 weeks of his recommendations, I started to feel so much better. So then I actually checked in to his 21-day detox. And I came out of that feeling so amazing. And from there, I decided that I have to share this knowledge of Ayurveda with women, especially because I love just helping women, professional women especially. So that was in 2018. And then through then, I started like geeking out in Ayurveda, podcasts, books, webinars, everything, you name it. And then I decided like one day I'm going to be an Ayurvedic health coach and I'm going to teach women how to heal their bodies. And yeah, so 4 years later, I'm an Ayurvedic health coach now. I live in Peru. Like I said, COVID kind of got me here. And yeah, so I'm just working online. And yeah, I love it. I'm living exactly what my doctor said. Because I remember the last session that I had with him, he said to me, I asked him, what happens when I heal all these health issues? And he said, you are going to discover your dharma. And at that time, I had no idea what he meant. But fast forward 4 years, I know exactly what he was talking about now. And I believe that my dharma, my purpose to be here, is to help women, because I have been through, a little bit of a rough period in the last, 5 to 10 years with my health issues.
During that time, you were in that position that you know that something is not particularly good, and then maybe you don't serve yourself.
I think intuitively I knew that there was something wrong. And every time I went to the doctor, they just kept telling me, no, your blood tests are fine. No, this result is fine. Everything just looked fine. You probably just need to eat more, because I ended up just losing a lot of weight.
Mhm.
So I ended up coming down to about 40 kilos, at my worst, like down to 40 kilos. And I couldn't understand why. I had amenorrhea. I was losing my hair. I was low energy. I wasn't sleeping well. So I had a whole host of things. So every time I went to a specialist, they were just treating one area.
Mhm.
So I went to, one particular doctor. He was just looking at one particular organ, one particular area in my body. And everybody just kept saying to me, well, I guess, the only thing for your anxiety would be this medication. Or I guess for this, it would be this prescription medication. I ended up counting, like if I had gone down the pharmaceutical route, I would have been on about 12 prescription medications a day just to survive as a human being.
Mhm.
And I thought to myself, surely there is a better way than this. And so that's why when I came across Ayurveda, the Ayurvedic doctor in 1 hour said, your hair loss is related to this, your anxiety is this, your insomnia is this, your weight loss is this. And he just connected all the dots for me. And to me, that's something that modern medicine failed to
Mhm.
really touch. They didn't look at me as a holistic.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. They just, ticked some tick boxes in the form and said, well, it seems like you may have this. And I even had one doctor said, okay, you're losing a lot of weight. Maybe you can just put some ice cream, because it was winter at that time in Sydney. He said, maybe you can just put some ice cream in the microwave and just drink that. Because in his perspective, just gain weight, right? Whatever
Yeah.
way it is, right? But there is weight and there is healthy weight, right? But he never got to the root cause that, okay, I'm deficient in all of these things. Candida is overgrowth. So I had all these things that they didn't actually put the dots together. So Ayurveda for me was things. So intuitively, I knew there was something else, but I don't know. I guess you look at the medical system in the white coats and you look at them because they've been to university for 16
time.
years,
Yeah.
as, the word of everything. And I don't know, since then I've just been like, okay, well, and when I speak to my clients, they are going through very similar things, no? They go from one doctor to the next and there's a lot of frustration there. And yeah, so that's kind of like how it came about, because I knew that there was a better system. And when I found Ayurveda and I found that it looks at, elements and doshas and looks at your diet, your mental state, because no doctor in Sydney said to me, so what's your anxiety, like emotionally, like what are you going through?
Mhm.
Because at that time I was not liking my job. I was in a relationship that wasn't serving me. So none of them are ever going to ask you that. So Ayurveda, the doctor said to me, emotionally, how are you feeling? And I said, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, okay, so yeah.
And what did you find, like for women who you are now serving, or what kind of problems they are facing, and or what is the source of that problem for them? Is that because of the pressure, social pressure, or they are making pressure by themselves? It's just the modern life we are all living, not only in Sydney but globally. So, and how they can help themselves. Tell me a little bit more about what did you find the women are struggle with, and how you can help them and how they can help themselves.
Yeah, I think mainly because I attract professional women because of my background,
Sure.
and that kind of target group that I love to work with. Yeah, I think for me, it's burnout. And looking at the different layers of burnout as well. Like some women maybe are at a level 2, and some of them are so far gone that not sleeping well, not eating well, not exercising has just become part of life. And they don't know of another way of living until they have somebody holding their hand and saying, okay, I'm going to help you improve your diet because your diet at the moment is really not serving you, you know, let's get you moving. And for me, sleep is like such a huge thing. And I speak to women and they say, yeah, I probably like sleep max like maybe 3 hours, and then I'm awake for like an hour and a half, and then I might sleep for 2. And there is just so much goodness happening when your body is resting, you know, the detoxing, everything is happening, and your body needs that rest. And I think women in modern society as well, maybe it's my biggest thing is for them to incorporate a self-care practice. And that's something that Ayurveda is huge in. And not many women practice that because there is a sense of like selfishness, no? I have to be with the kids, I don't have enough time, my job, blah, 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 no? And Ayurveda is amazing at that because, yeah, a huge portion of it is about the self-care practice, about, you know, dry body brushing, about having a bath, you know, going for a walk, having a meditation practice, doing some self-body oiling. So for me, it's women just giving out so much, no, and not really looking after number one. But the reality is, if you want to be a better mom, a better partner, a better business person, a better daughter, you have to look after number one. And that is absolute key. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like having a solid morning routine is absolutely key. And I don't mean to say like do it all at once, because Ayurveda is not about overwhelming you. And I think sometimes people feel overwhelmed by Ayurveda, like do the, you know, the tongue scraping, the oil pulling, the brushing, like if you start incorporating like one thing a week and just changing that, in 5 weeks, you have like a solid morning routine. And that is like an epic. And I think, you know, Tony Robbins is a huge advocate of that, you know, have an epic morning routine and then your day's just going to go like, you know, flowing day, no? And in Ayurveda, you know, your sleep actually begins as soon as you wake up. And I know that sounds a little bit weird, right? But we have to take into account a morning routine, you know, correct times of day to be eating. So have a solid, Ayurveda is all about routine in general, no? Keep your hydration up. So it looks at absolutely everything as well. So I think, yeah, and an evening routine is absolutely key as well, because we want to get those good hours of sleep, no? And even if you just incorporate, I don't know, 5 minutes of deep breathing at night, that is it's so beneficial for the body. And I love to take women through this because a lot of women in the corporate world are doing, you know, KPIs and budgets and staffing and this and that. That if they just step back and I just say, look, just breathe for 10 minutes. When you're feeling that overwhelm kicking in, put your hand on your belly and just do deep breaths. And it's amazing. They're just like, wow, that really works. That really calms me down. And I didn't know this when I was in the corporate world. Like if somebody had like held my hand through this and said like, okay, anytime anxiety is creeping in, do this, you know, take deep breaths, change this about your diet, drink warm water, you know. So it's really interesting. Women just need guidance in general.
So how it works and where are your clients mostly from? Are you working from the women from all around the world, or only in Latin America, Peru, or also in Australia? So how it works for you because of the time difference, or do you have also some offline consulting as well?
Yeah, so my clients in the Latin American countries are very little. I mainly work with clients in the US and the UK, and Australia are very few, purely because of the time difference. But yeah, my clients are mainly there. I also work part-time here in a healing center, so sometimes I get clients through that. But yeah, mainly online from America and the UK.
Okay, so from the clients from the UK and America. So how that usually works? Like, do you have guys some groups, or it's more than one-on-one? and what they can expect of working with you, how long it takes to get some, changing in their habits and result that they feel better fulfillment and feel more healthy and more energetic.
Yeah, so for me, I'm working one-on-one at the moment,
Mhm,
and I have a program called Cleanse, Nourish, Balance.
mhm,
So it's a 3-month program. So the first module is cleansing. So I help you really detox the body, give you some practices that are going to cleanse the mind as well. And then we move on to nourishing because I think people in modern society are so obsessed with cleansing, juice diets, water cleansers, this, whatever. But we forget that we also have to nourish the body. So you can strip the body from, all the toxins, but then we need to, put all those nourishing practices into place. And I hear quite often, women say to me, "Oh, I did a water fast in Costa Rica like 4 months ago,
mhm,
but the weight came back on." And I'm like, yeah, because you have actually depleted your body. So as soon as you can go out and start incorporating food, it's like, boom, you start going back to old habits.
mm,
So the nourishing aspect of it is really important. So I take you through, diet modifications, lifestyle changes, and then the last module is the balance. So I give business women the blueprint of how to come back into balance through practices, self care practices. So different things, no? And I also have a 1 month program as well, which is like a quick realignment. So
mhm.
sometimes I feel like women may not need a 3 month thing. It's just shifting a few things here and there. So I give them that option of having the 1 month. Now, if they absolutely saw amazing results and fell in love with it, then I actually bring them into the 3 month program.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's kind of how it works, and I know what it's like to be a busy professional woman, so I take that into account as well. And we meet once a week, and I'm not going to give you like 20 things to do that week because that's so overwhelming. So I work with your busy schedule.
Mhm. And how they can find more information about how to work with you? I saw you have a social media, Instagram, Facebook. Do you also have some website you would like to promote?
I'm not so active on my Instagram. I probably should be, but I'm
Mhm,
mainly on Facebook, on my
mhm,
personal profile, and also on my private Facebook group,
mhm,
Ayurveda for Professional Women. So in there, I share so many tips and tricks and things that are quite useful in terms of diet, self care practices, meditation, and yeah, useful stuff for women in the professional field.
mhm. So we're gonna share this Facebook group and your Facebook profile. So for all of you women who are looking for how to live a better lifestyle and healthy lifestyle, please be free to reach out to Amayra. And I'm for the end of this interview. Also, can you tell us, like you said, due to the COVID, you kind of stuck in Peru, but now you find this is like the place where you want to be. So, what are your plans? Do you want to have some uh, academy or something or retreat in Peru, or you are planning now because the borders are open to travel somewhere else?
Yeah, look, as amazing as the mountains have been to me, I am missing the beach because I grew up in Sydney as well. But at
Mhm,
the moment, Sydney is not some place that I want to go back to. But I definitely feel a calling to go to the beach. So either
mhm,
Mexico, Guatemala. I need water at the moment because, yeah, as I said, like these mountains have been so amazing, and I've done so much healing here, reconnecting with my roots. Also incorporating plant medicine as part of my healing process, but I feel like it's time for me to soon just think about being in a, shorts and a
okay.
t-shirt, beach, going to have a dip in the morning, and yeah, so yeah, change is coming. I'm just finding that particular place. Actually, I went to Nicaragua last year and Costa
Mhm,
Rica, and that was amazing. There's a place in Nicaragua called Ometepe, which is stunning.
mm.
But yeah, I'm feeling Guatemala or Mexico next.
Yeah, so please share some photos of the mountains and all the beautiful
I
places you visited. And thank you so much for sharing with us your journey. And yeah, so I really encourage all women who are maybe feel that they feel a kind of stress and burnout to contact you, because you know exactly what they have to do to change that situation, and it's possible, as you explained. It's all about the actions and some better routine on a daily basis. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and wish you all the best in Peru. And then if you are planning to move somewhere on the beach, I understand you completely. I'm also the person who cannot survive without water, and I like mountains, but yeah, water is something I really need. So I can feel your situation right now. Thank you, and wish you all the best. And we are in touch. And I wish you many happy clients.
Yay! Thank you, Ed.